Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching South Central, ET Now's brand new show where we break down all the important news and happenings that are happening in the southern states of the country. I'm Sumita Kareed, and here we'll keep you in loop with all that's happening in South Indian politics, business, policies. Well, you name it, we've got all the segments covered. In fact, South Central is your daily go-to for a full 360-degree look at all that is currently happening in India's South Indian states. Let's then begin with some news coming in from Karnataka, wherein a big push is coming in from the state to startups in the state. In fact, the state cabinet has approved the new Karnataka Startup Policy 2025 till 2030, and this policy aims to establish up to 25,000 startups, including 10,000 outside of Bengaluru over the next 5 years. And for the same, a budget of over 500 crores has been approved for the implementation of this policy. But the question is this policy adopting a comprehensive approach to strengthening the state startup ecosystem? And will there be targeted interventions in key areas like funding, incubation, infrastructure, mentorship, acceleration, R&D and industry collaboration? Well, to answer some of those questions, joining us now is a very special guest. He is the state's IT Minister, Mr. Priyank Kharge. Thank you very much, Mr. Kharge, for taking the time out and speaking to us here on ET Now. Right, Mr. Kharge, let me begin by mentioning that, this is a big push that is coming in from the Karnataka state government for the tech and startups ecosystem, which is currently the biggest that the country has. And of course, Karnataka in the past few years has also nurtured the IT and tech hubs as well. But by way of this policy, what next are you planning to achieve for the state? What is your vision for the tech and startups ecosystem for the state?
So if you have a look at our startup policy, it's just not about numbers. We are going beyond numbers. We have a very, very specific and precise policy in place to get to the next level in the value chain. So if you have a closer look, you'll see the focus is heavily on building startups with high value, especially in deep tech, AI, space techs, aerospace, and more importantly, sustainable solutions across verticals. And like you rightly pointed out, for the first time, we are having great focus outside Bengaluru. The Elevate program that we run has seen great traction from women entrepreneurs and from entrepreneurs outside Bengaluru. So we have we are laying great impetus on startups beyond Bengaluru, especially in the deep tech sector.
That's right. Very interestingly, Mr. Kharge, you mentioned that efforts will not be limited to just a few big cities, but they will percolate down to tier 2 cities as well. But speaking about and putting the focus back on something that you said about the sectors that will be given focus, including AI, green tech, deep tech, agri-tech, could you expand a bit more on how this would be given a push and which of these sectors in particular will be given a push to make Karnataka, to get Karnataka a global edge?
So the focus sectors is based on the geography, and I am extremely if you look at the policy, it's sector agnostic. So if the strength of the geography is marine biotech, like how it is in Mangaluru and Udupi, we are setting up a center of excellence there. There is a manufacturing push towards the Hubli, Belgavi, Dharwad belt. There is a push towards fintech and AI in the Mysore belt. There is a push towards agri-tech accelerators in the Kalburgi belt. So this program is focusing on deep techs as per the strength of the geographies. And that is what is going to accelerate innovations and inventions across Karnataka. So we have tied up with IIIT Dharwad. We have tied up with IIIT Raichur, IIIT Bengaluru, IIT Dharwad. We have business incubators with more than 11 regional engineering colleges. So we are creating these various hub and spoke models with the regional headquarters being the center. So we are concentrating right from agriculture to aerospace.
And how will the government be measuring success under this policy?
Well, if you look at only the startup policy in silos, maybe you might not get the entire landscape of what the department is doing or what the government is doing. If you look at how we have come up with schemes like Nipuna, our engineering R&D policy, our startup policy, our space tech policy, our policies for global capability centers. When you look at the entire landscape, that's when you will realize that we are building a solid foundation of skilling. We are topping that up with incubators and accelerators, and we're topping that up with centers of excellence where innovations can be bred. And on top of that comes the finances and the policy. So we are building a great triple helix model of industry, academia, and the government. So right from skilling, reskilling, upskilling, we will be taking up to driving innovations in our own backyards. So if you, we are also mulling over how we can ensure that we create a regulatory sandbox for innovations. We are mulling over how startups, how government can be the first customer for startups, in fact. So everything, if you look at the entire landscape, that's when you will understand the depth of what we are trying to achieve.
You know, you mentioned about two very important points, skilling and, of course, R&D, given the fact that India is wanting to lead in the deep tech space, in the AI space. And for these sectors, we need skilling, we need R&D, we need innovation. But, sir, given that at the central level as well, the government is giving a push to startups, which is currently the third largest ecosystem in the world, how does this policy push that your government has given will give a push to centers focus on this sector?
Well, if Karnataka has always been a leader in policy making, especially in technology, whether it's the information technology policy, the biotechnology policy, the space tech policy, the GCC policy, the engineering research and development policy, the AVGC policy. These are all the policies that we were the first ones to do in the country. And the central government followed the lead. So while the central government is doing what it can, we are leading in policy making. We are leading in ensuring a great ecosystem and environment is given for research and development, innovation, skilling. And I think there can be a lot more synchrony between central government and the state government. But I think the central government needs to reach out to state governments better to ensure that these kind of disruptions happen at the grassroots and just not in Delhi.
Right, Mr. Kharge, you made a very important point about more coordination between centre and the states. But what are your key asks when you make this a point about why centre's focus should be on policies beyond a few hubs? Could you list perhaps top 3 asks that you have of the central government?
No, I wish the central government had a better and more focused approach on creating talent, especially when it comes to emerging technologies. Number one. Number two, I think there is a lot of scope for us to collaborate with respect to research and development, putting in more joint accelerators, creating more centers of excellence, and better funding for state governments as well. See, right now, most of 95% of anything that any state government is doing is from their own funds. Hardly we get any help from the center. But I think there is more that can be done if we collaborate.
All right, let's now also ask you about the Bengaluru Tech Summit that's going to happen in a couple of days. What are the key things to look forward to this year, even as we're seeing a lot of advancements in AI, deep tech, defense, and drone startups? And what are the kind of investments that you're looking forward to being made in the ecosystem?
See, Bangalore Tech Summit is not an investment summit. It's more like it helps the state create a blueprint for policy making and more of a blueprint for the road ahead for the state and for the nation. This is more of a dialogue exchange on policy making, the disruptions that are happening, and the preparedness that we can get into the government and for the industry as well. So the investment part happens in Invest Karnataka, where we got in more than 10 lakh crores, out of which more than 60% was with respect to IT and electronics manufacturing. Well, the Bangalore Tech Summit heavily focuses on startups, heavily focuses on vertical disruptions and sector-based disruptions, and how we can take it further. So last year, there was a demand from the industry asking for a couple of policies, including a GCC and a space tech policy, and we got it done in less than a year. We are up and running about it. And this year, the one of the things that is our main focus, and people should look out for, is our Future Makers Conclave, which is on November 20th. The Bangalore Tech Summit starts on 18th. It's on 19th, and the 20th is the Future Makers Conclave, which will be highly disruptive in nature, because we are going to concentrate on deep tech startups. We'll have more than 8,000 technopreneurs under one roof, talking about deep tech, getting funded for deep tech, finding their mentors in deep tech. And we have announced a deep tech decade. For the next 10 years, Government of Karnataka is going to concentrate on deep tech technologies. We have earmarked 600 crores this year for that. And we are also looking at private partnership from VCs, and they too have pledged that much. So I'm looking at close to around 1,200 crore deep tech fund for startups. And any entrepreneur who is daring to disrupt should be there at the Future Makers Conclave on November 20th.
Right, Mr. Kharge, very interestingly, you mentioned about GCCs, but there is also another area where Karnataka excels, and that's related to the electronics ecosystem. And, sir, reports have suggested that Karnataka, besides Tamil Nadu, is giving a push to exports and not just domestic manufacturing. And Apple, in that regard, has been a key player. So how do you aim to keep the momentum going up in that regard? And what next can be expected in terms of supply chain integration?
Well, one thing that we are offering is a complete ecosystem of talent, of precision skill, of research and development, incubation for startups, and more importantly, manufacturing itself. And we are in talks with almost all mobile manufacturers or electronic component manufacturers within the supply chain as well. So it's not just getting the big names here, but also ensuring that the entire supply chain ecosystem is right here in their backyard. So, we give this entire environment for them for progress, right from packaging till delivering. So whether it is getting your products packaged here in a sustainable manner, whether it is manufacturing in sustainable manner, whether it is ensuring that your component manufacturers, your entire supply chain is here, your logistics is here, basically from manufacturing to port, anything that they might require, we are concentrating on the entire value chain. And I think that is what you're seeing as a disruption that is happening from Karnataka for the global supply chain.
One final question, sir, before we let you go. What are the targets then for the electronics ecosystem, if I may ask, given the fact that we're seeing supply chain shifts happen all across the globe due to geopolitical developments, and that really presents an interesting opportunity. So what would be the targets that you have set for the electronics ecosystem in Karnataka?
Sumita, to be very honest, the central government can give any slogan they want: Make in India, Amrit Kal, Vikshit Bharat, Skill India, Digital India, Startup India. But I'd like to assure everybody that any disruption that happens or any slogan that the central government calls for will happen in Karnataka. So we want to be the market leaders. Our competition is no longer with the states within the country. We are competing globally, and we are delivering global products, as you rightly put it earlier.
All right, sir. On that note, thank you very much for taking the time out and speaking to us here on ET Now. We wish you all the very best. And of course, we'll be tracking this sector, especially as far as Karnataka's startup policy is concerned. And what are the next set of innovations that startups that are based in the state bring about, especially as far as AI and deep tech and related sectors are concerned. Thanks again very much for joining us. All right, let's take a look at some other stories from the world of politics and policy. Well, there's news that's coming on the issue of bogus voters because now Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has claimed that about 4,379 duplicate voters were identified in Chief Minister M.K. Stalin's Kolathur constituency alone. In fact, she was asserting that the Special Intensive Revision or SIR of electoral rolls is aimed at removing such fake entries. She said, and I quote, "Can we claim that Stalin won the election using these bogus voters in his Kolathur constituency? Should these irregularities not be removed?" she asked. In fact, she was also responding to Stalin's claim that SIR was a conspiracy, to which she said that the former has described SIR as an act of disenfranchisement, while Deputy Chief Minister Udayanithi Stalin is speaking without even knowing what SIR actually means. The Constitution mandates the Election Commission of India to conduct SIR before every election. But it is unclear while the DMK is protesting against it, she remarked. In fact, she further questioned why the DMK did not oppose the SIR when it was conducted 13 times earlier and accused the party of taking such a stance to hide the failures of its rule in Tamil Nadu and to divert people's attention from real issues. And news now coming in from the Madras High Court, which has made an important clarification on how Tamil Nadu plans to handle political roadshows and public events. The court has said that the Standard Operating Procedure, or SOP, currently being drafted by the state government is meant to regulate and not restrict the conduct of such events. The observation, remember, by the court is coming in the wake of the September 27th Crore stampede during the roadshow of TVK leader and actor Vijay, where 4 people lost their lives. In fact, the tragic incident then prompted the government to prepare a detailed SOP to ensure crowd control, safety measures, and coordination between political organizers and law enforcement agencies. And it is then that the Madras High Court bench clarified that this SOP is not meant to curb political activity or restrict public outreach, but to ensure that such events are conducted safely and responsibly. So, important clarification that is coming in from the Madras High Court. And actor Vijay Deverakonda has been questioned in cases related to online betting apps. The actor has appeared before the Telangana government special investigations team in connection with cases related to promotion of online betting apps, and that's according to reports. In fact, reportedly, the Telangana government has constituted the SIT under the overall supervision of the Additional Director General of Police, CID, to curb illegal betting activities and for thorough investigation of the online betting app cases. Earlier, Deverakonda appeared before the Enforcement Directorate in August this year as part of an investigation into a money laundering case that's related to illegal betting, online betting, and gambling by certain platforms. He had then said that he was doing an endorsement for a gaming app. There is no connection between gaming apps and betting apps. That's what he said. In fact, Deverakonda, he debuted with the 2011 Telugu film Nuvula and shot to fame with the 27 blockbuster Arjun Reddy. All right, then now shifting focus to Kerala, the state will now have to set up measures to relocate stray dogs from the premises of schools, hospitals and other public institutions. Remember that the Supreme Court has ordered all states and union territories to move stray dogs to designated shelters after proper sterilization and vaccination procedures are carried out. Now, in light of this, Kerala's local self-government department had convened a meeting with all the relevant departments, including animal husbandry, health, PWD and the NHAI to devise a plan for street dogs relocation. In fact, it will particularly be tedious for Kerala to carry out the Apex Court's order since the state's dog population, which stands at approximately 9 lakhs, is 3 times higher than the national average. And a final story before we end the show, ladies and gentlemen, and this one is coming in from Tamil Nadu. It's a shocking story that's coming in of a double murder that has rocked the state. 2 temple guards hacked to death inside a temple premises, and that has sent shockwaves across the state and has sparked a fierce political row over law and order. 2 temple security guards on night duty were found hacked to death inside the premises of a temple near Rajapalayam in Tamil Nadu's Virudnagar district yesterday. In fact, the brutality of the crime has now sparked outrage. Leaders of the opposition AIA, DMK and BJP have slammed the ruling DMK government, calling this yet another example of what they term a complete breakdown of law and order. They've demanded swift arrests and stronger security at temples, especially those with valuable property and donations. The government, meanwhile, has condemned the killings, promising a speedy investigation and asserting that those responsible will be brought to justice. Well, with that news, it's time for us to wrap this edition of South Central. Hope you liked watching the show as much as we did putting it together for you. From me and the entire team, goodbye and thank you very much for watching.